All right, so stage two of the 2025 Siege Esports circuit just started up, and I've had a kind of a busy week starting school, so I almost forgot to do this. But thankfully, only a few play days have gone by so far, so I haven't really missed much. But we have a bit to talk about at least because, or at least a little more to talk about because a few play days have gone by. So I'm gonna start with APAC because they start the earliest. Oceania has already started. They had their first play day yesterday. So similar to what last stage, what we're gonna do, we're gonna go over all the regions and all the teams and what if they made any changes and kind of like expectations. And then at the end, we're gonna of each league, we're gonna just talk about like what are the stakes for really all the teams at the end of the league and maybe some potential storylines too, because some of the leagues have and teams have good storylines behind them. Some of them don't, and that's okay too. But talk about the ones that are nice and juicy. So again, first we're doing all APAC here. Technically, we're starting with Oceania because it's already started. Um, so yeah, let's get a move on. So is our first two teams. You have Dream Warriors and TSG. These are again just kind of the bottom feeder teams that you don't really expect to do much. Um, and then your other two teams that might do something, but you don't really expect much from them. You have Man Esports LFO. I'm going through these kind of quickly because I don't think most people, if you want to read about more about these rosters, you can, and you can do more about them on Wikipedia. But I think for like a wide audience, most people are going to want to know like who are the top teams really in this region, or at least the projected top teams. So first we have Chiefs. They got fourth placed in stage one, and they have added Brendo and Sage to their roster in place of Josh and Tex, and from the remnants of what was once Gaming Gladiators. So I think this is a good change because this team last stage was heavily relying on Jigsaw to carry the hell out of this team, and it was just not working. Like they would get by the bad teams, but it wouldn't get him by the better teams. So Chiefs are my going to be one of my top three teams in Oshi this stage. And next we have Ludovica. They got second in Oshi's stage one. They have a similar roster, I believe, as last stage, if it's not the same. Karma, Cairo, Physics, Milo, and Lunchbox. This team made the grand finals of Oshi last stage. They did get kind of decimated in that final, but it's nice to see some competition. But I still don't know enough about these guys. Besides, really, Cairo's the only one I've ever seen play at any international competition ever. So but they are good. They are good enough to win and get to the grand final at Oshi at least. So they're not terrible. And next, I have to give them their flowers. Enterprise Esports. They got number one in Oshi stage one. Same roster as last stage. Though technically last stage they went in with Killer Man on the main roster, and then they subbed him out for Player, and they've been better, even better since they've added Player. So yeah. And then if you're wondering why Gaming Gladiators isn't here, they have dissolved from Siege. So as you can see, Oshi's in a pretty rough state. There's like 3 Orgless teams. Gaming Gladiators just left the scene and they couldn't fill the spot. So Oshi's just weird and they have 7 teams. But really the stakes is you just want to be a top 2 team in the region and you get one of those spots at the APAC League Major Qualifier, which we'll talk about more when we get to the end of each of the APAC regions. Next we have the Asia League, which started on September 3rd and goes till September 22nd. So I believe 1 or 2 play days of Asia League has already gone by as well. So our first 2 teams, we have Latent Dragon Esports and Arrival 7. These 2 teams got number 8 and number 7 in last season, and I don't really expect much to change. Next we have Shark LFO and Fury. Shark LFO, again, another team where I don't really think they're going to do much. Fury are a team that have had expectations in the past, but they haven't been good as of recent, but they could be a dark horse team for one of those top spots because they have that potential. But as of recently, they have not been that stellar. So really, ever since they lost I9 and last stage, they got fifth. So in fourth last stage was Daystar. A lot of these players came from that old Direwolves roster. So if you're familiar with Direwolves, that old Direwolves roster, you'll be familiar with this team. Another team that has potential to crack into the top two of the region, but it'll be very hard. The next team, and this is like my definitive top three from here, is Soul's Heart. They put up a very competitive stage last season and almost got into that grand final and just barely missed out on it. This is basically the old Asia Elevate roster from like way back in the day. Like not the most recent one they had, but I think around, I want to say like Berlin Major timeline kind of era there. So and they got I9 back basically, and it's definitely like I definitely think it really helps his team. Like their synergy is pretty good with this five. So next we have Elevate. They have made some roster changes. They have picked up Resets and Raps. Raps played in T2 Brazil, but he's been a Tier 1 player before, and then Resets from Team Liquid has come over to Elevate. So I definitely think there's some good upgrades here compared to the previous players. It's kind of sad. It took one stage in this team because they had a couple players originally when they started this project, this Brazilian project in the Asia League. They had a couple players from their Elevate Academy team come up with this team. They're all gone already after one stage. So all the players now are all have all been in T1 or played T1 in previous stints. So definitely an improvement in the roster. And of course in first last stage, and I expect to probably get first again, will be Weibo Gaming. This team is just one of the best in APAC for a reason, and they're genuinely a really good international team as well. And I think with time, they'll just continue to get better. So a lot of expectations on this team. I really, in my opinion, their only competition is Soul's Heart and Elevate. And if they can beat those two teams like they did last stage, they'll be fine. So, and of course, same stakes as Oshi here. You get 2 spots at the major qualifier and SI points dispersed among the top 5. Also some money too. These were the same for Oshi. I didn't really mention that. The Asia League and the Oshi League have the exact same prize pool, SI points, and the 2 spots at major qualifier. But the APAC North is a little different when we get to there. So APAC North starts in just a few hours from now. So the first play day is, if you're where I'm at, it's like really early in the morning. So yeah. First we have Mirror Gaming. They were really bad last stage, so they made some changes. I believe they brought in Arumatic and SPR Luca. And they made some coaching changes. They brought in Cooley and Zest. I don't think they made any other changes, but I could be wrong. I know they definitely made 2 player changes in the coaching staff. But yeah, this team got 8th last stage, and it's definitely just going to be hard ever since they combined Japan and Korea. Korea has still been struggling pretty hard outside of FearX. So next we have Enterforce, is a Japanese team. They're supposed to make a roster change. They still haven't announced it yet, so we'll see whoever's on the roster tonight, but I didn't want to wait another day to upload, so yeah, really the only player of note on here is Nina, because he was really good when he was with Scars. He would kind of fry people. I still really never know why he left Scars, because I mean he objectively left a team that he was like doing well, like at least in his region. Like Scars was winning in Japan all the time at the time, um, and he left it for a completely like unknown project, really. But it's his choice. So next we have CAG. They got sixth last stage. Now CAG are definitely the most controversial team in APAC and probably in all of Siege because of the Black Ray situation, and I'm not really going to deep dive into that here because it's kind of wild. But it is pretty easy to Google on internet because it kind of went viral and made its way out of like the Siege niche. So I'm sure if you Google Black Ray R6 charges, you'll find something. So, and I believe the verdict was, I think the verdict was not guilty. Well, I'll say that. But anyways, yeah, Black Ray got himself into some deep shit, and now CAG are playing with their coach, who is, it's weird because DD, their coach, is still going to be the coach, and they don't have any extra support staff, but he's also going to play. So I think CAG are going to have a rough stage because I think like especially their coach, like he's going to have so much like work to do. Not only does he have to play, so he has to practice like the game, but he also has to provide his team with whatever they need in the like background, like all the like the analyst work, strategical work. So I think it'll be a hard stage for them, but I know the other players on this team are still really good, so it's possible they could place better, but it'll be hard. Next we have Kinotropic Gaming. They were fifth in APAC North last stage. Kind of just a team that I've never really seen prove themselves before, so not really much to say here, right? Because even though like CAG, yeah, they had sixth last stage, like CAG, the players and the org, they've been to so many events, so like we've seen them play so many times, so you know who they are. But these guys, no clue who they are. Um, they made like one change since the last stage. They brought in Sylvia, who I think was on Enterforce previously, and and they still have that like vacant spot that they haven't announced. But yeah, not much to say about Kinotrope. Just another kind of like middling of the pack team here. So PSG Talon, they got fourth last stage, and they have chosen to make one roster change. Yas is out of the roster, and in his place, Yunsang has come in. I'm not exactly sure if Yas like was dropped or left or retired. I'm not sure the specifics on that, but the gist of it, Yas is out, Yunsang is in, and they're looking to place better this stage. So in third last stage we had Scars. They haven't made any changes, and if we want to talk about it, they were statistically the best Japanese team because they were the highest placing Japanese team last stage. So they're looking to get back on their streak of being the best team from Japan once again after CAG took that title from them from the previous year. So, and the team that got second last stage, D plus Kia. Now this is similar to Elevate situation where full Brazilian roster, but unlike Elevate, they made no changes here. They are going with the tried and true method of just feeling it out, just building chemistry with the team, and I am a fan of that strategy. So I think it's very beneficial for teams to like really see something through until they are like for sure it's not going to work out. So, and I think a lot of teams need more time than like a 3 month stage and then make roster changes every stage if something doesn't work. Like even like let's look at how bad the Now Furia previous W7M team was. They were facing relegations at one point, but they stuck with it, and eventually they got to the top. So now, not saying this team will do that because it's like these players have not proven themselves to really be on the same level as those guys. But a couple of them are major winners and mighty SI winning coach. So you never know. And then, of course, in first place last stage, we had Furex, the best team from Korea, and one of the best teams in APAC too. But I think Weibo have that title like as of current times. But Furex are always in contention for that title. So again, same roster here for Furex. Good Boy Mephi, Rin, Woogie, Mankota. We're pretty familiar with it by now. Same staff as well. They're just looking to make the major. Really, that's their goal. So again, and here's where the stakes are a little different. There's a little bit more money on the line in the APAC North League, and there are 4 spots for the APAC major qualifier instead of 2 for the other regions. And I believe the APAC major qualifier is also like a LAN event, and I don't know where it'll be, but they haven't announced that, I don't believe. But it's like an actual LAN, so it'll be cool to watch. Kind of back, I was watching. I don't know, people remember like who watch far back enough, like when I did, because I remember back when we had like the Pro League finals, and for APAC to qualify to the Pro League finals, you would have to play a LAN in APAC first and place top 2 at minimum at that LAN to go to the Pro League final, which was back then really the equivalent of a major. So I really like that they're doing that, and I think it's really cool. So here's a quick glimpse at what the major qualifier looks like. So the top 4 teams who go to the major qualifier are going to go to the major. You also get extra money if you make the major qualifier as well. So even if you don't make the major, and there's no SI points available for the major qualifier. But yeah, anyways, that's it for APAC. Next video, we're going to do NA because I literally am making this basically like right after the first NA Playday finish, because that's kind of what made my head go, oh my god, I gotta get the videos out. I haven't been talking Siege and I almost forgot. So yeah, anyways, if you watched to the end here, thank you, and make sure to keep tuned for the next one. Have a good day.